there is a person that I cannot live without. So he says, because you gave me this idea that made me so much money, here is some money for you. Change your mindset, change your friends. And the big one. Hello guys, and welcome to another vlog. I'm so excited to be back with you. Sorry for the delay with the last vlog, but we are really working on getting up to speed with the schedule of sharing content with you. And we do this to add value to your life and to serve you the best. So today I have an amazing surprise that I'm going to share with you in the end of this vlog. An amazing opportunity for each and every one of you. So make sure you stay till the end for that opportunity. Other than that, I'm gonna put a story on Instagram and allow you to ask me questions. And I'm gonna try and answer these questions as I go about my day. So welcome, and let's have an amazing day together. So now we just passed through the store. My assistant ordered the new phone for me, and it's exciting to see. And then I just got the iPad Pro, which I use for when I'm speaking. I used to have that one, but then a friend of mine needed an iPad, so I gave it away, and now I got the new one. So we are on our way to the gym. I had an amazing morning, worked a little bit on some projects, did my daily routine, and now I'm gonna hit the gym, do a few calls, and then go for a meeting with the pastor of our church and the chief of staff. Then I'm gonna go for a coaching with a business client of mine, and from that coaching I have another meeting that has to do with the upcoming European conference that we are doing in 2024. So it's gonna be a full day, and I'm very excited about what's about to come. Now let's see this baby. Weird. It's weird that it starts with the back instead of the front. I think that's the first time I see an iPhone that is not like a screen looking at you, it's something else. So my first response is like, Chris, this is not the new one. You got me the old one. He said, no, it's the new one. I guess everything looks the same now, right? Okay, so let's come to the moment. Oh, I like that moment. Feels good. Feels good. And the new cable. Look at the new cable. Obviously, it's a C-port. So that's the new thing now. They finally made it work. All the normal papers and stuff. And the cable. Super nice. So, iPad Pro. It's one of the best tools, I think, for preachers and speakers. You know, it's a very, very nice tool for speaking. And then, you know, with homeworks and studying, if you get a good keyboard, it works. Now that's how I'm used to it. You're supposed to be faced by the screen. Okay, so let's see now. I love that sound. Look at that baby. It's actually nice. Does it have juice? Yes. And then you have the cable. And remember, it used to come with this. So now we have two cables. My wife can freely steal now. Wow, what an amazing time at the gym. And thinking about one of your questions that you asked on Instagram, what are 3 of my favorite things? I have to say, I really love spending time with my family. I really enjoy the company of my wife and my children and people that I love. Number 2, I love this place. I love working out. And number 3 is part of my workout, part of my daily routine, part of my going everywhere is listening to a book. Actually, I listened to an amazing book while I was working out. So these are 3 of my favorite things. Now I'll answer more questions as we run to my next meeting. So one of the questions that I got in Instagram today is, what are 3 things that you cannot live without? I was really thinking about this question while I was in the gym, and I was going through my life and asking myself, what are things that I can't live without? And really, there is no thing that I can live without. There is a person that I cannot live without, and it's the person of the Holy Spirit. If you're not Christian, this might sound a little cheesy or strange, but this life, if you take everything out of it, but keep the presence of God, then you can still live life. And the opposite is true. If you get everything out of life, but you miss God, then you lost your soul. What is it for a man to win the whole world but lose his soul? Jesus said once. So yes, there is only one thing that I cannot live without, and it's Jesus. So obviously, we just finished one of the meetings, and now I'm here with her. We're going to be recording a video for one of the seminars that we just did, called Human. The Human.
The Human.
Where we're talking about marriage, family, and so many other things that pertain to relationships. But it's in Bulgarian, so never mind. So I haven't eaten all day, so I have some skyr. It's like a special kind of yogurt, chia seeds, and some granola. And I'm going to coach a big business guy at his office. So my driver has to take me there, but I'll eat something on the way. I'm going to talk more about some of the questions that you asked me on Instagram. Let me try to finish this first. Thank you. Another great question from Instagram is, how do I develop discipline? That's an incredible question, because I think that discipline is one of the best forecasters of success or failure. In other words, the more disciplined a person is, the easier it becomes for that kind of person to be successful. And the more disorganized or undisciplined someone is, then you know success will be a really tough job. Because as they say, successful people do every day what unsuccessful people do only every now and then. So when we think of discipline, I like to think of it as a muscle that you develop. Obviously, you were with me in the gym earlier, so you know that muscles are being developed by 3 factors. Number 1 is what you eat, number 2 is exercise, and number 3 is rest. When you eat, you're feeding the muscle. When you exercise, you're tearing the muscle. And then when you rest, you're growing the muscle. So when it comes to discipline, number 1, you have to feed your discipline. How do you do that? By being surrounded with the right people, by introducing new information and new disciplines to your life. And how do you exercise it? Well, you exercise discipline by doing it, by applying the disciplines, by doing things that you don't like. I think that actually the definition of discipline is something about around of that meaning. It sounds like that. Discipline is doing things that you don't like. Discipline is doing things that are hard. Discipline is doing what you know is right, but you don't feel like doing. So when you do that, you're exercising your discipline. You're tearing your willpower. You're tearing the muscle of discipline. And then number 3 is rest. And this is very counterintuitive to most people, because I believe that for you to be very disciplined, you need to have periods where you're not disciplined, where you are taking a break from being so disciplined. So for example, I have days where I'm not in a suit. I have many days actually when I just decide, okay, today I'm just gonna enjoy. I'm gonna eat, kind of like the concept of a cheat day or a cheat meal. I think that your discipline as a muscle needs that, your willpower needs that. You need to rest from being so disciplined. And then, actually by that rest, you become even more disciplined, because muscles grow when you rest. Okay, so let's see another question too. Okay, so this question is amazing. It's a young man that asks, as an entrepreneur myself, I do feel oppressed occasionally by church. Why is it like that? And then he continues with the same question and he says, I mean, oftentimes church is not very supportive of you having big dreams and aim high. And I think that question is one of the most powerful questions that I've received today, and also one of the most interesting observations, because sadly for many spiritual people, the role or a lifestyle of a businessman or an entrepreneur, they think of it as more materialistic. But the truth of the matter is that the more you have, the more you can give. The more things depend on you, the more things you're managing, the more value you can give to people. It's a very, very powerful question, because as a spiritual leader who is also an entrepreneur and a businessman, I have come across this kind of, if I can call it, resistance of people. People can only think of you in the lines of who you were when you first were introduced to them. So if they first met me as a preacher, it's very strange for them to then know that I'm a businessman as well. And if somebody met me first as a coach, it's kind of weird for them to know that I'm also a spiritual leader. And this has happened to me many times. Like the person I'm going to coach today, we are driving towards one of my clients. I'm going to be having a coaching session with him at his office. And he's a very, very wealthy gentleman who first heard of me as a coach. But then later he understood that I was also a preacher and a pastor. So for him, at first, I think it was strange. As much as for Christian people, sometimes it's strange when you kind of also have a secular job or something that you're doing in the secular world. But then it always comes back to Jesus for me. So Jesus wasn't just a rabbi. He was also a carpenter. He was a leader. He was a son. He was a Jewish man. And there were so many different roles that he played in his life. He was actually called the friend of sinners. And I think that's where a lot of the church is missing it today, that they don't expect us as believers to be friends of sinners. And they use the verse from the epistle of James, where it says, don't have friends in the world. I'm paraphrasing that. But it's not what it means. It's not literal. Because how are we going to reach the world if we don't develop relationships? I mean, Jesus went to the house of Zacchaeus. He was calling all these business people, and every person Jesus called had a job. He didn't call anyone who was just sitting and praying somewhere. That's interesting. So is it in the Old Testament as well? In the Old Testament, you have the same case. People who had a job and were doing something or going somewhere, they were getting the call of God. So the church will be the church, and the main primary focus of the church is always to, represent the kingdom of God on earth. But also I think that the church has to wake up to the reality that we are not going to heaven as an escape or even going empty-handed. We have to have fruits and be fruitful and multiply and subdue the earth and live a life that's meaningful, not just for our family of believers, but also for the people from the world. So I don't know if that answered the question completely, but I really feel for you, my friend, and I pray that you find the right community of people that can support you, and that you could also be a great example of somebody who is an entrepreneur and a strong Christian, because the world really needs people like you. What is the biggest challenge for men these days? That's such a tough question, because I don't think there's only one challenge for men. I think that there are so many challenges. If I could look at it from even a sociological point of reference, or even a theological point of reference, our world is progressively becoming harder for men, or the typical men, and easier for women. And this is not to put women down, it's just the way the world works currently. Even the way the laws are structured, the way social media is structured, the way many organizations are structured. And that could be a challenging thing for a man in the 21st century. If you're asking me what's the biggest challenge for men to overcome in themselves, I think it really has to do with self-esteem. I think that many men feel like they're not good enough, they're not successful enough, they're not, competent enough or intelligent enough. And, some men have to think that way. There is some truth to that. But I would say that most men just feel like they're in the race with what the world has defined as success. And they don't feel like their version of success clicks all the boxes of the woman that they like, for example, or the person that they aspired to be like, or the people that they think, this is who I want to like me. So the definition of success has become so narrow that most men are easily excluded. And the definition of success for women has become so broad that most women are easily included. So this makes it 2 times harder on men, because what most men are after is women. And now women are harder to get. I read a study the other day that 85% of men are lonely. Like, when you read this, Christian, what are you thinking of when you hear this? That 85% of men are lonely.
I think it's very sad that men feel that way, or even though they may be surrounded with so many good friends around them, people that support them, but when you feel that something is lacking inside of you, you can be in the right company but feel like something's missing inside, because there's actually the emptiness, and until you find that thing that fills it, even the right people around you, you cannot appreciate them. Even though they may express their love and appreciation and support, you won't actually be feeding from it.
I think you're hitting it in the bullseye. It has to do with identity. So this identity crisis is actually a boy crisis. And there is a book that I really recommend. It's called The Boy Crisis. You should read it to answer so much of why men are the way they are and why the boys are in crisis now. Now I have to go coaching.
С млечни продукти. Това е, говорим за свръхкачество тук. Значи той човек в неговата фабрика ще прави на вайбър да я видиш. Там тук не е влизало нищо, освен мляко, течно мляко. Няма една молекула, вика нещо вредно. Така че е много интересен.
So we are working on bringing some of the Bulgarian cheese and meat products to Dubai with one of my partners. And I'm looking for companies in Bulgaria that produce the best quality of cheese and Bulgarian cheese and meat and stuff like that. I'm looking at one right now that looks really serious. They're like cutting edge technology, and everything is bio, whatever, green. So just finished a coaching session, which was probably one of the best I've had with this businessman. And I have some of these clients that are like, how can I say, at the highest level of performance in business. And sometimes I even wonder, like, we could coach maybe even once every 3 months and this guy will still be okay. He doesn't need my help as much. But the higher they are in life and business, the more they want to be coached and the more they want to get an extra opinion and extra perspective on their business. So that's very interesting about successful people, that they're constantly learning and improving. The guy is in his 50s, 60s maybe even, late 50s. He's a great businessman. So now I'm going to, where am I going, Chris?
We're going to a meeting with some creative people and
Yes.
thinkers, let's put it that way, for one of the biggest events that we're going to have next year.
Yes, so we have a creative meeting for the conference of 2024, and we are running a little late because I always give a little extra in coaching. You know, if I'm supposed to be there for an hour, I'm there at least 15 minutes earlier and at least 30 minutes past my original 1 hour. And that's how I get the highest profile of clients, because there is a very, very important part of business, which is you want people to feel like they have a good deal by working with you. You don't want to leave a bad taste in their mouth of, I paid him for an hour and he gave me exactly an hour. You want them to feel like, wow, I paid the guy for an hour and he drove in his car to my place and he was there 15 minutes earlier, and then he never looked at his watch. He gave me 25 minutes more. That's how you add value. Now let's get some questions from Instagram. So one question that just came in is, what does it take to transition from poverty into wealth? Wow, what an amazing question. First and foremost, I would say, to transition from poverty into wealth, number one, it takes a change of mindset. You have to think in a different way. You know, I stopped thinking as a poor person in my teenage years. I stopped identifying as somebody who lacks in my teenage years. And I find that to be the first step from poverty to wealth. Long before you change your bank balance, you change your thinking. Long before you change your address, your postcode, you change your mindset. So number one is change your mindset. Number two, undoubtedly, is change the people you hang around. So I was meeting with a friend of mine earlier today, okay? And he said, you gave me an idea that made me so much money. So he says, because you gave me this idea that made me so much money, here is some money for you. You see? Change your friends. How many friends do you have that give you money like this just because you gave them a great idea? Now I'm working with another guy to sell a bunch of real estate and just making an introduction, kind of like a broker. I'm not, but I'm brokering that deal. I'm going to make 50,000 on one side, that's euros, and 50,000 on the other side. So a total of 100,000 euros just from one introduction. Change your mindset, change your friends. And the big one, for you to change your friends, which is number two, has to do with number three. Change your approach. Most people have a poor man approach to success. They think, I need to cash out right now. I need to get my money right now. Like this money I just showed you, I did not ask for it. I was not trying to get it. I was just trying to give value and do my best to help my friend. And this is something that many poor people don't understand. If you do your best, if you change your approach to a servant, to somebody that just adds massive value, it's almost impossible for you to stay broke. If you make everybody around you wealthier, you will end up wealthier. If you make everybody around you feel better, you will feel better about yourself. Change your approach. A poor person says, I need. A rich person, a wealthy person says, I give. The more you give, the more you can receive. So number 1, your mindset. Number 2, your friends. And number 3, to get the right friends, you need to change your approach. Be somebody who adds value, who adds massive value, and then look as life works to your advantage. One of my coaching clients, she paid me the humble amount of 6,000 for 3 months, or 6,000 for 6 months of work with me, which is like a low amount for coaching. The second month of her work with me, Chris, she sold 5 apartments in 15 days. How much money do you think she made out of these 5 apartments?
Almost 1 million, I think.
More than 1 million. And she paid me 6,000 for coaching. Guess what? She's going to pay any price to continue working with me. Because now she saw the benefit of, I work with this guy, I paid 6,000 and got over 1 million. How is that for a deal? Now we're in traffic. I hate traffic. So I'm going to hop into my last meeting for the day. Before that, I want to send out this challenge, which will be on my Instagram for one of you who can win a lunch with me. For that, you have to subscribe to this channel, comment this video, but also check the reel, which is linked in the description of this video on Instagram. Who knows? We might be meeting for lunch soon. So it has been an incredible day. Like, share, subscribe, comment. And I'm doing my final meeting for today, which is with some of the team, creative team, for our big event in 2024. See you in the next vlog.